Hello, folks. Welcome. It's been a couple weeks again to a Wednesday night Techthusiasm live podcast, to a very exciting week in home theater. Actually, had a lot of activity going on in and around the Techthusiasm home theater space and life itself. Quite honestly, in the last couple weeks since we last podcasted, I was gonna try to do it a little more frequently, but hey, I do what I can. So, what do we want to talk about? I think the big news this week, of course, is the Kaleidescape Strato V. It's been an interesting few days leading up to yesterday, and particularly yesterday and today itself. Bit hair raising in some manners, but life has been very busy. Summertime life, lots of kids' activities happening, hitting the tonal. I got been on the tonal every day since we've installed it, except for one. So feeling pretty good about that. I think that's still one of the best pieces of electronics that we've put in the house lately. But we're going to talk about stuff that's been going on here tonight. We're going to talk about that Kaleidescape, probably predominantly as the main topic of conversation. We'll talk a little bit about some of the recent content that's been on the channel, updating the rack, and all of that sort of stuff. Some other plans, other things than stuff that are afoot. The video went up the other week. Actually, it was last week, about the rack redo that my son and I did a weekend ago. So I got the rack all looking nice and slick. Picked up some cool rack parts, some slotted spacers and the like, to be able to here, we'll do some screen shares, to be able to make some room for future things and such that are coming. So from Snap AV, the strong rack system, pushed everything together a little bit more, got fixed kind of 2U spaces between everything. Just loving the way it looks, loving the stack. And now we've got plenty of space up on top for things that'll probably be coming in a little bit later on. We'll see based on timing and available funds and stuff like that. But still looking forward to the Ubiquity network overhaul, cams around the house, and all of that sort of stuff coming up. So in the interim as well, I've been making kind of inroads, making preparations to get that JVC, to get the new JVC. I actually have some activity afoot to hopefully be able to also be able to offer, we'll see, cross your fingers, be able to offer some JVC projectors directly to the tech enthusiasts community and stuff out there. In addition to Kaleidescape and some other things. So the kind of the dealer brand network stuff is kind of filling out. So super excited for that as well. I've got my eyes on the NZ900. That's the NZ9 formerly was my goal. The flagship projector has been my goal, and I've got my eyes on the NZ900. So with any luck, we may be talking about that on the channel coming up here. I do have my NX7 up for sale. If anybody's interested, feel free to reach out. It's great condition, works great, double bulbs, have the box, all the accessories and all that sort of stuff. I do have some, it has generated some interest. I've been talking to a couple folks about it, so that'll be awesome. Kind of facilitate the upgrade, move out the NX7 and get ready for the new one. But let's talk about this Kaleidescape. So the news broke Tuesday morning. There was a press embargo, focus time, etc., that kind of expired, and the news hit. Obviously, there was more than a handful of YouTube videos from popular channels and some friends of Techthusiasm and whatnot in the home theater social media space that also had their videos ready to go. So we have I think, a pretty compelling and interesting expansion, addition, and all of that to the Kaleidescape ecosystem. Yes, we have the Strato V movie player here. Let me get this zoomed in a little bit more so it's a little more renderable on the screen share. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that people have been asking for, man, they hit it. They hit a lot of things. I personally, and some people might say that I'm a little hype or a little biased. I don't think I tend to overhype stuff. I think I'm usually pretty balanced in finding the good and the areas for improvement and things. But I think overall, I think they did a really good job with this, quite honestly. Dolby Vision, folks have been asking for the Dolby Vision stuff for a long time, and we got it. I think that's a key feature. I think the other key feature that isn't getting a lot of discussion, but makes the device usable in ways that the Kaleidescape player and ecosystem hasn't been usable before. And I have to admit that on my laundry list of things to consider for a future Kaleidescape player, um, it didn't really. This isn't really something that I've ever actually even mentioned, even though it specifically is a shortcoming or a challenge that I can create or have exist in my own system, and that's the audio decoding capability, the ability for the player to take the lossless DTS Dolby audio, right, and decode it internally losslessly and output multi-channel PCM. In my setup to date, I have a Strato C. I've got the Terra, of course. I run them into my AVM90 for the theater, and I run also a Zone 2 continuation or matrix output to the television in the living room. I have an LG G2 in there, and at least for the LG G2 generation, LG doesn't support DTS. And so without the ability to do specifically that audio decoding, you can get into situations where you may want to be using a Kaleidescape player, but you can't get audio because the audio format of the movie or the piece of content that you're looking to watch only is available in a format that isn't decodable by your audio system. And particularly when we're talking about something that's Strato V, which is now opening up, I think, a little bit more opportunity for people very likely to put this in flat panel, living room, gathering space type of home theater environments. We're going to see it connected to more sound bars, Sonos systems, and other things like that that aren't necessarily full blown multi channel immersive audio processors and receivers and stuff like that. So I think that's a really key feature, a really good feature to have and a smart one to have put in into the whole thing. It is a new, there are some new guts in there, as I've been told. Basically a new system, some new hardware. I like the addition of the grounding screw. There's been cases, certainly in the history of my rack and my equipment, where I've had hums and other things that I've needed to deal with. So that could help out. Of course, we got a 1 terabyte SSD, good enough to hold on the order of 10 movies. I've been told that they calculate 10 movies based on those movies being effectively a 2 hour 4K film. So, of course, if you have some HD content, you're going to be able to get more stuff packed in there. If you're going to get, depending on the length of the film, it's going to make a difference. So, I think very likely, 10 is not a limit, right? So the thing to think about, 1 terabyte is the limit, and whatever you choose to download is going to either could be a little more, could be a little less, depending on what specifically you're loading on it. Along with that, we got 10-minute downloads. So it is an SSD. They powered up the networking, the processing, some of the internal bandwidth uh, capabilities inside there. 10 minutes is the quoted download speed. And as I understand it, that's quoted on a 1 gigabit internet connection, right? So depending on the limitations, if you have a faster internet, I'd be curious to see, if that number gets pulled down a little bit. Of course, if you have a little slower internet, you're going to get a little bit less than that as well. But the kicker, and I think the second part of the value add of that is it will download at full speed while you're playing content. And so those are two pretty significant limitations, I think, of the existing Strato S hardware, where in my experience, I had a Strato 2U and I had a Strato S in my Kaleidescape journey. I know a lot of folks historically have looked to buy used Strato S's as their entry point into the system. And I think that's been a really viable way to go for quite a while, actually. Again, that's what I did. That was my first entry into the Kaleidescape ecosystem several years ago. And folks, they're out there. Those players have been out there. They've been able to be bought. Many of them even still under warranty for a little while. But in our use in our family, I found 45-minute downloads to make the platform not usable for our use cases, which is interesting because I think everybody is a little bit different. And I think that I actually spoke with somebody that said, yeah, they're not actually really that concerned about the downloading speed, but they feel that they really need to be able to hold more movies because they jump in and out of more frequently rather than needing access to something. So it really all just depends on your use cases and all of that. For me and our family, we often do movie nights. If we make a choice to do a movie, it'll be a decision that we make like at dinner time or just after dinner. Kids get ready for bed, whatever, try to get the chores and the household things out of the way. And then it's like, okay, whose turn is it to pick a movie? Right now they got to pick a movie. What are they going to pick if it's not on the system? And we reach that moment in time, we don't have 45 minutes to wait for that movie to download. And we got in that situation more than a few times with our Strato S, to the point where it's like, all right, well, we'll stream it. All right, use iTunes, stream it instead. It's like, well, why do we have this thing, right, to provide movies and content in super high quality and all this stuff, but then we don't end up using it because we can't afford the time to wait for it. So personally, I find fast downloads to be pretty transformative in the K ecosystem overall. And then on top of that, when you're talking about the less space you have, to me, I think the more valuable that faster downloads actually are. So in terms of being able to cycle stuff like that. A couple other things I don't think I've seen mentioned around too much, but if you check the spec sheet, right, actually we can do that here. A couple things that I noted right away. I think the spec sheet should have pulled it up before the stream. Here's the spec details, right? So we're looking at the same chassis roughly, but the power consumption is quite a bit less than the Strato C. Let me do this. Let's do a C and a V side by side, because I thought some of these things were interesting. Here we go, data sheet. Let's look at the data sheet, go down to the specs. So here we go, power consumption, Strato C, max consumption 20 watt, typical 17. Strato V, get back to the list of specs, 917, 7.5, right? Pretty significant amount of difference there, at least in terms of percentage, right? Running on less than half the power. We're talking about a much more efficient type of player. Note this, right? Video output, HDMI 2.1. Haven't seen that mentioned too much. I have had it confirmed to me that the HDMI 2.1 port on the V is still an 18 gigabit per second bandwidth port. But I think, as we've seen in a couple places, it was mentioned in the FAQ, there are some other HDMI features that are features in general, and perhaps some HDMI 2.1 features as well that may come in a future update. So I think that'll start to give it a little bit more of those, like comparing the C to the V. And if you don't have one, or is it worth, if I have a C, is it worth me flipping that or buying a V? Some of this stuff starts to factor in a little bit in terms of informing some of those decisions. So we'll see what this allows or kind of creates as we go further along. They stuck with gigabit networking, of course. Interestingly, there was the specs on the C for ventilation. There's no specs about noise, heat output, airflow around the environment, but there's specifically a spec on the V here about silent and most install 17 dB when downloading in hot environments. I don't know if that's interesting. I'm kind of curious about that. If that's a matter of cooling, just the internal components in general, if that's something specific to the SSD, 17 dB might mean that there's a small-ish, like low RPM fan or something in there. So it'll be interesting to see when people get them, if there is any audible noise kind of coming out of the unit. Let's see what else. Display format capability is all the same. We have a couple of minor changes on the hardware outputs. There's no audio specific secondary HDMI output port, right? We still hold on to optical and coaxial, so we lost this port here. Of course, we still have the USB port. Just to digital is fully capable in the same form, same manner, same support on the V as it is on pretty much, I think, every Strato unit. We got the grounding screw again, and IR input, which we had on the C as well. So yeah, very similar. I think the black is cool. The black, going from silver to black, it's kind of the finishing motif. Largely, it seems like it's pretty much the same chassis, same weight, same dimensions here: 787, 152, and 10 inches. I like that. I'm very happy actually about that. that they maintain the same form factor. It's kind of like they didn't go with like an Apple model, right? Every time a new iPad comes out, it's either an iPhone. You never can put the same case or hardly ever put the same case or the same accessories or attachments and stuff on the thing. It's that you got to always buy the new ones. But what this means is that this thing fits in the same rack kits. So if you have an existing Kaleidescape system all racked up nice, you want to put a V in place of a C, you can put it in exactly the same rack kit. If you have a rack kit that exists right now and it only has one item in it, and you have space, right? Because the rack kit has the different faces, so you can put either one or two elements side by side. This will fit right in there. So no need to go buying new rack parts. I like that. So I'm kind of focusing on the pros a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the feedbacks that I've read about maybe what could have gone better, or maybe what some people expected and they didn't get, and some of the things that are pros that I've also seen people kind of interpreting as the cons, and we'll talk through that a little bit as well. Streamlined UI. I think there's a picture of that. Yeah, right here. So we're looking at not the move, not the. Oh, that's sorry. That's the store. Actually, do they have a photo? Yeah, here we go. Right here, standalone system. When in standalone mode, I think this is pretty cool, and I've read different takes on it. I think it's pretty cool. To me, I think it's really smart that when you're using it in a standalone mode with a 10 movie maximum size, give or take, again, 1 terabyte maximum size, the way the regular Kaleidescape UI renders wouldn't be that great, quite honestly, because it wraps and repeats. If you have a Kaleidescape system, you only have a few movies downloaded on it, you see those same movies repeated throughout the UI, whatever's like visible on the screen till you get to the end again, and it kind of like just goes through the same looping stuff. So if you have a lot of movies, you don't get a goofy wrapping effect. But if you only have 10, I think that would be kind of silly. So I think they did a really good thing here, by modifying the UI to be purpose specific to what the device is trying to accomplish. And so with a limited quantity of stuff, you're going to have a UI presenting you that limited quantity of stuff in a more elegant and better way. So I think it's cool. And I think they did everybody a favor by making this essentially an entry point into the ecosystem that can be expanded so easily. So, right, you get this, you use it in this mode for a while. Maybe you use it in this mode forever. Maybe 1 terabyte is enough space, cycling fast downloads, it works out for you in the long term, and that's awesome. You're now in the ecosystem. Forget the discs, man. Stick to all the conveniences and the elegances and all the stuff that you can get out of being in the ecosystem. But if you want to store more, then you buy the Tera later. You switch over to the other UI, and you're off. You're off and running. So I've seen some sentiment that like the UI is, and I think there's even a couple comments that have come up about the UI being like limited. It's like a half a Kaleidescape, or I don't agree with those sentiments at all. I don't agree with those sentiments at all. I think they did. I think purpose-driven engineering is a good thing. Purpose-driven usability overall is a good thing. Want to check in with some comments, and we'll kind of keep musings. Again, curious what people are saying. Got a bunch of regulars with us. Hello, Julius, Michael, welcome. I think we might have some folks that we may need to move out. I'm not sure here. Nice rack from Ren. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, we had fun. Had fun with my son doing that stuff. Yeah, folks interested in the Strato V. All right, sorry, I'm looking at some of the comments. Let's just be cool and not kind of deluge the comments. One of the things that I guess I see folks talking about in the comments is HDR plus. That was one of my thoughts as well when I first saw it. Was, okay, they did Dolby Vision. Did they do HDR10 plus? It's kind of one of those things like, you finally gave us this thing we're asking for, that so many people have been asking for. and then the next thing that people do is just ask for more things. So it's kind of funny. Um, but the statement has been that HDR plus, it is not supported. So whether it will ever come or not, Samsung TVs and stuff, right? Some TVs don't do the Dolby Vision; they do the HDR10 plus. Projectors, the JVCs do HDR10 plus. But whatever, we got it. We got one awesome feature. Maybe the other one will come in the future as well. Time will tell, and we will see. But I think a lot. I think I saw a lot of sentiment about like if they would have just done this, if they would have just done this, it could have been really great. But some of those have been unreasonable. But I think some of those are just a matter of it is what it is. I think they did a really great job. I think they answered a lot of questions. I think they answered a lot of requests with this thing. Again, I don't think you can argue with the fact that the entry point to the ecosystem from an MSRP perspective just went from 9,000 to 4,000 for a brand new entry without having to go to used hardware that operates certain things very slowly and in limited fashion. There may be some folks out there that feel inclined to upgrade their Cs to Vs, and if they're using them in a television environment, maybe there's something to that. I think if you have a C plugged into a home theater projection environment, you're happy with your storage space, you've already got Terra servers, of course, because you needed them with the C. It's kind of nice not to feel a pressing need to run out and have and just dump the Cs to go get the Vs. Like the Cs will continue to be a great product. They live side by side. If you're buying a new Strato nowadays, I probably would be very inclined to just like default to the V. You might as well get the latest built, the latest engineered, the latest design, the latest parts, and all of that stuff. But um, not necessarily. They didn't go invalidating, right? They added to the ecosystem. It's cool to be able to lower the price of entry. Hopefully, I think this thing will onboard all kinds of folks that have been waiting into the ecosystem, but still maintain like the value of what everybody else has. So, if you've been running your Kaleidescape C in a Terra in a theater, and you really wanted to have the second zone in the living room with the Dolby Vision television and stuff like that, boom, drop the V in that space. Everything else that you have still works awesomely, and you're good to go. So I think it integrates pretty nice. And again, there's more potential here. More things are going to happen. I think in software, unlocking some extra features through the hardware. I really am eager to play with the UI. Haven't been able to see this UI in motion yet. I understand that like some things like the parental controls, the store, there's some elements I understand that are planned to also become accessible on the V when it's in the standalone UI, but it's not there yet. So we'll see what happens as it gets upgraded over time. I think Kaleidescape has had a really great track record particularly the last few years of adding to the platform, adding features and stuff like that. So feel excited about what else they may do, kind of fleshing out the UI. And I work in software development, and I understand the complexities of software quite well, and needing to make choices about the roadmap and delivery timeframes of certain features, and how sometimes you got to go to market with an MVP. Because if all you did was wait for the full viable product, you'd be waiting a long time. You'd be making people wait a long time. And so, again, if people want to have a knock to say like, oh, the UI is minimal, the UI is limited, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, I'm okay with it. Ship the product now, get it out. Let's get it in people's houses. Let's get more people rolling into the platform. Like, let's build and update the software later. It's not the most core elements, I think, of what needed to be done on the UI are available. You can see the stuff that's downloaded. You can play it. You can stop it. You can remove it, and you're good to go. If you want to kick off downloads, you want to buy your movies, they have, I think, one of the best apps in the home theater space to be able to do that stuff in, and the web page experience is quite good as well. I like some of the usability elements that I've heard about how the UI works, the fact that um, stuff will kind of there's like an algorithm basically for when things will go, when new things need to come in, basically trying to help you kind of automate using the limited storage, of course. I understand there's ability to like favorite something so that if you want to make sure a movie or two or three perhaps that you really want to keep resident for a specific reason while you're cycling other stuff and downloading this and watching that and that's getting deleted, um, you can you can favorite some content and they won't go away. They'll be guaranteed to stick on there in the favorites list. And I think the favorites row is further down in the UI, like underneath the played. So there's a little bit more as well, I think, available on the UI than just what we see in the one picture. So again, it'll be interesting to see once we actually get it and put it through its full paces. So again, I've seen folks asking like, "Oh, it should have been 2 terabyte." Well, it's one. It should have HDR10 plus as well. Well, people wanted Dolby Vision for a long time, and we got Dolby Vision. Um, I think the thing to temper some expectations and to consider is just how long the Kaleidescape product cycles are. And in some ways, and actually, we were on the podcast a couple of weeks back, and there's some devices, a la video game consoles and the like, that I want to see getting updated far more frequently. I want to see something like a PlayStation and an Xbox on a 2-year product cycle. I don't want to see a Kaleidescape on a 2-year product cycle. So they run these cycles long. It was what, six? It was several years since the advent of the Strato C. So this unit's going to be with us for a while, I would suspect. I'm not saying that with any inside knowledge. I'm saying that that's just some personal conjecture. We had the Terras. We've had basically the same Terra platform for a long time. The Prime rebuilt the guts and kind of optimized the performance and stuff like that. But fundamentally, right, this is a long game piece of hardware. So as expensive as it is, people should, I think, rest a little bit easy knowing that when you make the investment, the stuff is going to stick around as is for quite a while. And I think it's important that, we got the primes, we got this thing, they've got new parts, they've got new chips and all that we've got the ability hopefully to do more things in software and other stuff like that going forward. So, the product is what it is at this point. And if you're going to wait around because if as an individual somebody's legitimately interested in the platform and you feel disgruntled because it didn't have HDR10 plus or it should have had a 2 terabyte instead of a 1 terabyte, it's like, well, again, it is what it is. You buy it, you buy what shipped, or you're going to wait probably potentially a long time before maybe things optimize or change. Maybe the storage will change on this one a little bit without having to change the whole box. They do tend to rev the Terra sizes, so maybe this will get a size rev going in the future. We'll see. But I just don't understand some of the like, and I didn't read a lot of it, but I just feel like commenting on it, like the naysaying sentiment that I have read about like just very very minor elements to like, oh, I wish it had that or I wish it had that. I mean, this is the box that answered a lot of requests and a lot of questions and stuff like that. And so I don't think there's a better time to buy into something like this than early in the product cycle as well, because then you're going to get the maximum enjoyment and time out of it. I've seen a lot of folks talking about like, well, $1,000 price point would have been perfect. Or, why can't it stream? Well, it's not a streamer. Or why can't it play the progressive download feature? We can conceive of all of this different stuff about any product, right? And I do it for all kinds of different products as well. I know what I want Sony to do with the PlayStation and stuff like that. Please, Sony, sell me $1,000 console that's on the order of magnitude of graphical power and fidelity as a high-end gaming PC. I love it. But they make what they make, and I either buy it or I don't. But I think something else to keep in mind with Kaleidescape is the business model of downloads and business is a confluence of decisions and product lines and everything over time that gets you to um, where you are with the current product today. And it's sometimes hard to do major paradigm shifts. So, changing the whole platform over to progressive downloads comes with a whole another, I think, degree of engineering and change and business ramifications and everything else. Um, it's easy to conceive of features and things like that we may want the stuff to do, but it's not always feasible. And for all the folks that say like, oh, it's a $500 box of parts and whatever, it's like, well, fine, go ahead. I like Michael Youthman. I've seen him come back with this retort a number of times. Um, if you can go build a competitor and sell it for $1,000, and you think that will be a winning business model and you'll own the market, man, go do it. Go do it. So, the options out there. Just checking in with some comments. Michael saying, I wonder if this will double the user base. I think this is going to be a pretty monumental shift, especially as disk access and whatnot continues to diminish. We only have in our hobby, we only have a couple ways to watch stuff. You stream it, you buy a disc, or you do this, right? And we know the differences between them. If you want higher fidelity, you go with Kaleidescape or you buy a disc. You get more conveniences on either side of anything that's not the disc. You get inherently more conveniences. But as the disc element diminishes, and the price of this thing now comes down, if you want fidelity combined with convenience, access, early access, like all of the other merits of the platform, I just think it starts to make sense. And by essentially cutting the entry point in half, and again, that's at MSRP, I think a lot more people will find their way in. So I'm just scrolling through and talk a little about some of the other technicalities that I've kind of learned about. Some people mentioning, I guess I could disclose, I don't know if we have new people in the chat as well, but I am a Kaleidescape dealer. So you can call me biased, you can call me whatever, I suppose. There's some chat about my history there. I've been a Kaleidescape dealer for 5 weeks. I bought into the Kaleidescape platform specifically because I got tired of ripping discs. I had a 12 terabyte or 12 base Synology loaded with content and all that stuff. I did the ripping scene. I did the ripping game for a long time. I've done Plex. I was building, I have some of the OG HTPC threads on AVS forum back in like, what would that have been? The late 2000s-ish, Windows Media Center, putting all that content on a HTPC. I've done all of that stuff. I got really tired of it. I wanted to get into the Kaleidescape ecosystem shortly after the advent of the Strato and the store. And my first Kaleidescape was a used model, an original 2U Strato. Bought it off of eBay, a couple of $1,000 used. Used that for a while. And over the course of the last several years, I had that. I had a Strato S. So again, I know what it's like to use the older hardware, to have longer downloads and stuff like that. I've had some bigger Terras. Thought maybe I overbought. I downsized and then resized kind of up again. So I'm very familiar with the platform. And I've been talking about it on YouTube for the whole 3-year life of the channel. It's a product that I really like. I'm a fanboy, call me whatever. I've liked it for a long time, and I wanted to sing its praises. And when I started the YouTube channel 3 years ago, I think this was a product that was very specifically underrepresented in a lot of discussion, or misrepresented in a lot of discussion. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it as well, and feel very emotionally motivated to share them when they haven't owned or experienced the platform, right? Or don't have a history of kind of interacting with it and stuff like that. So one of the things that I've enjoyed covering on the channel is setting kind of the record straight and putting a lot of information, useful technical information about the platform. So, and as time has evolved with the channel, I just increasingly have people coming to me for guidance and advice and whatever on different home theater things and stuff like that. So I built up my business partners and the affiliates to be able to send referrals and stuff too. And then coming into this year and thinking about it for a while, kind of coming to a conclusion ultimately that why shouldn't I offer something that I like so much, I know very well, and I think I can support very easily directly to folks that come to me all the time for questions and stuff about it. So I think it's an evolving business decision for a tech enthusiasm that just makes sense. So to the to some of the conversation in the chat, yeah, that's that. I guess kind of my history with the brand and everything else, and I am looking to build up, a little bit more of being able to provide stuff to folks. So yeah. Yeah, if we need to ask some folks, maybe just to chill out, chill out in the comments, please. That would be a that would be a good thing. I'm catching some comments about like what am I gonna do? Um, well, I'm not sure yet. Actually, I really I definitely will get my hands on a V for sure. If for no other reason than I want to make the content. I want to be able to fully understand. One of the things I like on the channel, I like UIs, I like interfaces, I like talking about them, I like talking about usability. I like making content that helps to explain and that likes to explain and help people use the stuff to the maximum of its potential. That's why I make the Apple TV videos that I do. That's why I made the Kaleidescape videos that I do, the Anthem stuff that I've done, the JVC stuff that I've done, talking a lot about the how and why of kind of how I do stuff. um, I really want to experience the UI firsthand. So I'll probably end up upgrading everything just because I can. But my some of my just personal home theater spending is based on the gating factor that I want that NZ900 um, more than more than anything else at the moment. I mean, my Kaleidescape as it is serves my needs quite well. 12 terabytes is pretty comfortable. I'd love to have a little more storage, especially as we've gotten into some of the bigger movie sagas and stuff like that. Right now, with the family, we've been watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can see the comic book collection behind me. My son and I were really big into Marvel comics. My daughter as well. So I'd love to just have a little bit more space than 200 movies. Given my Kaleidescape library is about 1,500 films as well. um, so I may look to add some more Tera capacity. I almost too, just for the experiment and the content of the channel, I actually kind of want to get the V and unplug my Tera and just use the V in standalone mode with the 10 movie capacity and the 10-minute downloads for a little while and just use it like that for a couple weeks, a month or two, and really get a feel to be able to kind of comment again on the experience. Because I remember what it was like to have the Strato S. And again, as I commented earlier, the longer downloads we really found to be a challenge to the usability of the platform in our household. But I'm curious with 10-minute downloads and very much more limited capacity. I'm curious to see how that would go. Yeah, Sammy, welcome, Sammy. A lot of friends in the chat. Hello. Yeah, 900 is nice. Yeah, I need to hear some more about hear about yours. I'm probably on a slower roadmap to get it. We'll see. I've got things in the works, contacts made, certain applications applied, and things, and so I'm hoping that it won't be long. It may end up working out that I sell the NX7 potentially as soon as this weekend, and then the theater will actually go down for a little while. But we'll see. I'm not going to pass up selling the NX7 with an easy good sale because I'm sure I've got the NZ9. I've got a lock on an NZ900 one way or another. It's just a matter specifically of how and when and what. So what were we talking about? I'm going off on tangents here. Yeah, so I want to get the V. I want to make the content. I'd like to do the V experience for a little while. So I'm sure my current C plus 12 terabyte Kaleidescape system will evolve in some capacity at some point. So there was an interesting question in here that I wanted to hit. It's kind of like a dealer question. So if you got questions about Kaleidescape in general, about the V, try to put them in. I know we've got quite a lot more messages kind of flying by here than I'm used to, so I'm not kind of able to get to everything. A lot of things that I wanted to say as well, but I want to interact as well. But dealer questions too, happy to answer like dealer perspective questions. And if I miss it, put it in again, put a cue or something in front of it. I can try to make sure to catch it that way, star it, come back to it or whatnot. But Ren was asking about sales tax. So, man, I have learned so much about commerce, e-commerce, uh, sales taxation, business operations, and stuff in the last, well, really just in the last like several weeks. It's making my head spin. Payment processing and point of sale collections. Good Lord, it's been some very frustrating elements. But all right, so short answer to this, what could be a very long question. People don't want a masterclass in business. We want to talk about Kaleidescape here. The way sales tax works is based on two things. They have what they call nexuses. You have physical nexuses where you actually operate. You have a business location, storefront, stuff like that. And you have economic nexuses, which mean you're interacting by selling product to somebody in another state where you do not actually have a physical nexus, a physical location. So wherever you have a physical location, if you sell product to somebody that also resides in that same physical state, you are required to collect sales tax and remit it to the state. So I'm in Michigan. I sell something to somebody in Michigan. I charge them the 6%, and I can choose either on a monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis that money needs to go to Lansing and get paid. Michigan is the only state in the country where I have a physical nexus, which means I can still ship stuff anywhere else around the country. And as soon as I ship product to another state, and I've already done it, I now have an economic nexus in that state. I do not have to collect sales tax for other states until you pass certain thresholds as defined by that state. The nominal threshold is $100,000 in total product sold or 200 transactions in a given state. So since I'm just starting out, I have zero. I have zero all around the country. So yes, for the time being, outside of Michigan, I do not have to collect and remit sales tax. So Ohio, anywhere else, anybody that's interested in buying some stuff, it will be a sales tax free sale and purchase. If I pass 200 transactions or $100,000, some states are different. Some they're like 500,000. Some states, is it Delaware, I think, that doesn't actually collect sales tax. Like the whole thing is moot anyway. But in my opinion, if I'm doing $100,000 or $200,000 of business in a given state, or I'm doing 200 Kaleidescape transactions in a given state, and I'll happily file for my sales tax license because that means I'm making some solid money. We're talking like pay off the Techthusiasm household mortgage level money. So I like to try to do the business stuff right, and pay my taxes as they're due, do my reporting the right way. And so yeah, I've learned a ton of stuff about that. So yeah, Michael, short answer to a long question, or other way around. No sales tax as long as it ships to me first. So this is one of the goofiest things about business. This is something completely, and I actually just talked to somebody in California a little bit ago today. So Kaleidescape's in California, just as an example, and this isn't specific to them. It would be the case for any other brand and stuff that I'm selling. So I'm a reseller. I buy something from Kaleidescape as a dealer so that I can sell it to somebody else somewhere else. Let's just say that person is in Texas. I'm in Michigan, Kaleidescape's in California. I cannot have Kaleidescape ship the unit directly to the customer in Texas, because then that would be a Texas like direct sales arrangement. And that would result in either me having to go get a sales tax license and an exemption and all this stuff. And I'm not going to do that for all 50 states. People that I'm aware of in this industry don't do it that way, because it's a lot of paperwork and maintenance, filing quarterly taxes and 50 different state portals and all that stuff. So in order to actually avoid the sales tax, yeah, Kaleidescape has to send me the thing to Michigan so that I can buy it from them sales tax free. And then I can sell it to somebody else in another state, also sales tax free, because of the economic nexus requirements. But it does mean that, like, very specifically, we'll be, in some cases, right, product will be coming to me from far away. I'll put my hands on it. I'll put another label on it. I'll put it back in the mail, and then it will, like, literally go back to its home state. Sometimes the bureaucracy of the government and its rules and its regulations, surprisingly, may not always be the most smart and efficient out there, right? So, yeah, that's a sales tax gig. Harp, this looks fantastic. Talking about the V, might be worth buying this for my living room. Wonder if the price of the regular player will drop. So it will not. My understanding is that the C and the V will live side by side for the time being. All right, everything is subject to change, but for the time being, for the foreseeable future, no intent to discontinue the C, and the price of the C was not dropped. So fundamentally, one of the other important elements is that there are some things, despite the V being like the new hotness, right? It's all this like sleek black looking chassis, and it's got Dolby Vision, and it's got all this stuff. There are a couple things that the C does still, right, that I think there is one of the reasons that it's sticking around. Particularly, there's still, I think, quite probably a reasonable number of Premiere systems out there, right? The older Kaleidescape disc-based systems that require the co-star and the integration and all that stuff. The V does not work in those setups, so you need a C to do that. So for that and a couple other reasons, the C is sticking around in the product line, and they're both maintaining a $3,995 MSRP. So if you're buying for a living room, Harp, and you're not an existing customer, and this is your entry point, I think regardless of whether you want to buy a Terra right away or not, you get the V. Living room setup, you may benefit from that audio decoding depending on what your audio system is. Maybe you have a flat panel with Dolby Vision, right? You might as well get those features. You might as well buy the newer box for sure. If you're interested, or for that matter, if anybody is interested to talk more about it, part of what I've set up is a little more, I think, more business oriented kind of contacts and stuff. So Jeremy at techthusiasm.net is the new kind of formal channel business email. Anybody that wants to talk about it, spec something out, right? Talk some pricing, and all of that. Maybe get an order in. I'd love to help you build a new system, upgrade an existing system. If you've already got some Kaleidescape stuff, I can help everybody do it all. Just reach out to me, emailing to that email address, or go to techthusiasm.net. There's a contact form. You can go through there as well. I'll get back to folks right away, and we'll set up a time to chat, and I can talk it all through. A couple other questions in here. Piper Boy, why do you like Anthem over Marantz? I have a long history of using multiple Anthem processors, like as long as the history of the channel. I think the brand is spectacular. And as stated, I like interfaces, I like UI, I like features, I like usability. I think the audio quality is aces. I think prior to Marantz supporting Dirac, there was no competition between Odyssey and Anthem Arc. I just think overall, Anthem is the best cohesive audio platform out there at prices that are not, that's not Trinoff. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit more in a future stream, but we'll try and keep this one a little more focused around Kaleidescape. And then I'll take one more question, not on K. Julius, because it's Julius. How are you liking the Mad VR? I think the Mad VR is also pretty spectacular. I'm looking forward to doing more with the Mad VR coming up. It's been I've consistently been making. I had a little rush of Mad VR videos, and then kind of slowed down a little bit on them as I've had ideas of certain stuff that I wanted to like showcase specifically about it. I still want to do an HDR tone mapping comparison, specifically between like the JVC tone mapping and the MadVR. I've had a little bit of a challenge getting like an easy quick switch, um, A to B comparison setup to do that. I think I know how to do it properly. Now I just haven't had the time to do it. And then I had those rack parts. I wanted to get the rack parts in and some other stuff like that. So I'm digging the MadVR. I mean, we use it every time. Every time we watch a movie in the theater. Again, we've been largely working our way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're into phase 2. We're on Guardians. I think Guardians is the next movie, and then Age of Ultron. And we're my son and I. We're almost at the actual. I think the next issue of Avengers from 1965 or whatever that we have to read is the first appearance of Ultron. So pretty cool. We got that parody going on. So yeah, I'm digging it. I am looking way forward as well to having the MadVR on the NZ900. I think that they will match up in many ways based on some capabilities and stuff like that. Better than the NX7 because of the HDMI 2.1 and the refresh rates and stuff like that. So I'm digging it. The other thing too, actually, was one other quick statement on MadVR. They recently announced they have like a certified product specialist program. And even as an end user, you can like watch the videos and take the classes and stuff like that. I haven't been able to get to making the content about this yet. And I really want to get through the program, actually. They kind of invited me to become a certified product specialist, even though I'm not like directly selling the MadVRs. So my goal is to complete the curriculum and become a certified product specialist for the MadVR before Audio Device Live, because I want to go to Audio Device Live and I want to talk to those guys there, having completed the curriculum, and then I'll make some video comments and stuff about all that, and and what it is. But if you have a MadVR, you're interested in it, check out that stuff. So let's see, Ron. And if I missed some really good questions about K and stuff like that, just repost them. There's been a flurry of messages coming through. I need a moderator or something. Ron Moulton, is there any reason that it wouldn't be easy to move this from house to house? It would be convenient to take the new Strato V from home to vacation home. There's no reason. So that in full is one of the value added propositions of having content downloaded to the device, right? And not having it be streaming. So you get a V, you're going on vacation, going to an Airbnb or whatever for a week. You don't want to pay the extra money to maintain a audio video hardware setup at a house that you don't either own if it's an Airbnb or maybe a vacation home that you don't spend a ton of time at. Yeah, man, download a 10 dozen films or whatever, unplug it, and take it with you. Plug it in at the new place. You do a little bit of like setup reconfiguration. Just make sure all the you get the audio video operations set right. The remote's in there, so the remote's in the box. The newer version of the Kaleidescape remote. So yeah, I think it's great for that. I expect we'll see what happens. I guess I would expect to see, as much as like these Kaleidescape systems end up at all these industry trade shows and these events and stuff like that. It's a little cumbersome. In the past, it's been cumbersome to move the platform around because it had two pieces and they had to talk to each other over a network, or to do demos or move it, you had to take the bigger box. Now you got this nice little package that can travel with you. So I'm kind of expecting to see at Audio Device Live in a couple of weeks, I'm expecting to see Vs everywhere, presuming they had them readily available to take to the show. And then at CEDIA after that, if I were Talo, man, I'd have Vs on every screen at every one of these industry events, if at all possible, to show the thing off, and it's perfect for that. You can still play scenes and access that stuff. So it's the perfect little demo system in that regard as well. So yeah, Ron, yeah, it's absolutely, I think, set up quite well for that use case. Let's see. Yeah, master lessons. Traveling with Kscape sounds like home theater RV edition. I actually had somebody reach out to me. They sent an email. I wrote her back, and actually I tried to refer her to one of my channel partners, but it was an RV application. They had questions about some audio video setup in an RV. And so, I mean, just Kaleidescape is awesome for an RV. It's for the same reason that it's great on a boat, right? A reason that they do so well um, in the marine stuff is you need to be able to download and take stuff with you where connections may be unreliable. And even in an RV, right, or a boat, you can't even rely on just regular streaming, perhaps if you're out in the woods, camping, whatever. So yeah, I think it's a great product for mobility, mobility in general. So just some ridiculous comments. I can't even. Um, let's see. Just want to make sure. Oh, Rob, welcome. Got a bunch of regulars in here. Hello, hello. Catch the replay. That's kind of the Michael asking Chris with a K. I actually was gonna. I didn't. Sammy's here. I was gonna ask Sammy if he wanted to get online and talk about the Kaleidescape tonight. Chris as well. Maybe next week. Actually, maybe we'll set it up offline. We'll do another kind of chit chat of the state of home theater and some of the new products and stuff that are coming out. You guys have the 900s running now, and then this thing pretty soon enough, I think, will be in our actual hands. So we'll get together for another stream together. But I haven't seen Chris at AudioVice live before. I don't know if he's planning to go. Um, God, oh, geez, people. All right, sorry. Just want to make sure I get some questions. All right, if you've got some, again, so some more questions, put them in there. Legit questions. Happy to take them, and we'll see if we have to action anything in the chat. Just be cool, guys. Be cool. And if you want to have whatever opinions about me, you can have them. I'm trying to do my best here, and yeah, this is a business thing for me. So yeah, Travis. Hey, welcome, Travis. Yeah, we were chatting today. Yeah, Chris helped with his Lumigen setup. Yep. Yeah, Chris is awesome. Love both those guys, Chris and Sammy. We sorry, just verifying something. Yeah, Travis, we'll be in touch. Be in touch probably after the stream. Angus Small, welcome. Excited about the new V. Surprised at the inclusion of Dolby Vision over HDR10 Plus. You think HDR10 Plus could be a software update, or would it require new hardware? I'm not actually sure. There was a ton of, and I've been so pressed for time that I haven't actually really even participated in a lot of the forum discussion. The Kscape Owners Forum had a ton of conversation going on, and there were reps, Kaleidescape engineering folks that were there commenting on things as well, specifically talking about stuff like the choice of Dolby Vision profiles and base layers and how the stuff interacts with each other. So I don't know the answer to this question. In business or engineering wise, I'm not sure. If they really did consider HDR10 plus, if they considered both of them, I think there's a lot of both technical, licensing, and business elements that go into what they did. They chose Dolby Vision, and so that's what we've got. Whether it could come in a new hardware and stuff, I don't know. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention, because these have been questions that have come up as well. I've had a couple folks reach out to me with specifically folks that went the route of joining the K ecosystem by having a Strato S, right, or having a Strato with storage. And I think one of the prevalent questions, I don't know if this is already like in the FAQ and stuff as well, had been, if I have a Strato S, can the V play movies off the S? And I do want to make it clear that we verified this with Kaleidescape, and the answer is no. A V will not play directly off of an S. Once you have a Terra in the system, though, then things start to open up. So something to keep in mind. And there are a couple of other limitations which is leading to some really interesting like engineering type questions around the thing. And one element that I haven't even had time to really look at yet is kind of the deployment of Dolby Vision in the store. I have noticed, which I think is pretty cool. Let me zoom this in a little bit. That if you go to the store now, right, pretty quickly, I think it was yesterday, the Dolby Vision tags started to appear. So a little while back, the tags in the store changed. Now I think we kind of know why, right? I alluded this into the video from yesterday. It used to just say UHD or HDR, and it kind of meant different things, and it was a little bit layered, the meanings of those tags. But then now they've separated them out. I think this is really good. It was clean, and of course, I think this was absolutely done in preparation of being able to tag stuff as Dolby Vision. So I think every day we'll probably see more and more DV stuff being added to the store. Yeah, folks are saying 300 DV movies already. So let's see if I go to the all movies and I filter by Dolby Vision. By my count, one page of the Kaleidescape store is 120 films, unless that's changed. Um, that's that's what it's always been because that's kind of how I count my library. So it looks like, well, some titles may not be shown because of your filter options. I think the only filter, the only filter we have here is Dolby Vision. So two pages, and the second page isn't too long, so maybe not 300. It's probably more like 150. If I'm right, historically, it's been 120 movies per page. Probably more like 120 to 160 movies. It looks like they're going back for some of the earlier stuff. Furiosa, Garfield is in here. Imaginary Friend. We watched this the other day. It was cute enough. It was pretty fun. Aliens, Ghostbusters, Oceans, Illumination, Sony. It's a pretty good mix. Some Universal films, some Disney films, some Warner Brothers films, Top Gun, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. So I think they're Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? So I think they're hitting big titles. Yeah, these are all like big blockbuster titles, right? So like anything, it takes time. Again, it's engineering, it's technical development, it's software development. You can either wait until everything is perfect, or you can ship and build over time. And I prefer, for many things, in many cases, the latter model. The latter model helps the most. One thing that I did notice is, oh, here, so let's look for a movie that has Dolby Vision, okay, that I own, but I haven't downloaded. So this is something to keep in mind, and I want to get a lot more clarification on this. Actually, I got to prep up some questions and send them over, and probably make a discrete video or something on it. I'm giving away plans. Somebody's going to go and make the video before me. But if you go into a movie, you go to download, right? Download to home. Home will download 4K HDR10. If I can change that, I can choose to download the Dolby Vision. This is interesting. This system does not contain any players that can play 4K Dolby Vision content. You should only download this version if you are adding a Strato V player to this system and connecting it to an HDR capable display. And so there's a learn more here, right? So it goes to the FAQ with some answers in there. Now, this is what I want to get a lot of clarification on, because I'm not entirely sure, like, if you have at least one V in your system and that V is connected to a Dolby Vision television, I think you probably want to download always and only if it's available, the Dolby Vision version of the film. Because then it'll have the Dolby Vision for the display that and player that wants it, but it will also still play as a base layer or included layer HDR10 to the Cs and to the theater projectors and stuff like that are not Dolby Vision. I don't think you want to do this, because I think this is fundamentally downloading two complete separate instances of the film, and you're basically just wasting storage at that point. So, but I wonder as well, I'm not sure how it worked. So a lot of conjecture, like this little segment, but if you had a big old Tera full of a ton of movies, is there a way to upgrade the download or do like a partial download to change them over to Dolby Vision? So I'm gonna ask a ton of these questions, and then probably make a very specific video about HDR versus kind of DV management, operation, and library management, and all that sort of stuff. So that's in there. The other thing that I want to take a look at, let's look at something. Let's look at Furiosa. Is this DV? Yeah, this is. Oh, yep, it is in DV. Is I saw some conjecture that the download sizes for Dolby Vision are bigger by like 10-ish%. So, and that's, we'll look at a couple of these here. Dolby Vision 87 gig, Furiosa HDR10 81.7. So it's a difference a little over 5 gig. Let's look at Garfield download size, and not any difference there, 50.6 to 50.4. So I kind of want to ask about that as well. Like, why is there a differentiation 66.3 to 61, a little less than 10%? Is that maybe 8%? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, 83 to 78, right? So that's a good 10%. I'm curious to understand why that differential, and in general, like, is there a bit rate difference? Is it an encoding difference? Is the DV data really like just that much larger for some inherent reason? I don't know details of I don't know the details specifically of like a core technical differences between HDR10 and DV, but again, anyway, something that I want to get the answers on, because I'm curious to know, and of course give recommendations and stuff like that. So, and find out as well if you have an existing Terra, you got all this stuff downloaded. How do you turn your library over to DV? There's another area of the store menu here that I want to look at together in a second, but I want to make sure that we hit a couple comments. Yeah, Sammy. Yep, MVP, the minimum viable product. I said that earlier, but I didn't qualify if folks didn't know what that meant. Yeah, if they follow Agile, it's the right way to go. Yep. Yeah, I'm still, another thing I didn't really comment on earlier. I'd be really intrigued. I'd be curious to be a fly on the wall in the business discussion to say, like, why now? Why did they launch now? We've got Audio Device Live coming up in a couple weeks, and they could have splashed there. We've got Cedia coming. My gut reaction would have been like, Cedia is the place. Cedia was the place that I personally, again, no prior knowledge or insider details or anything like that, but that was when I kind of expected something to happen, whatever that something may have been. I had a few different thoughts about what it could be. But it's interesting too, like JVC didn't wait until Cedia, right, with the NZ800 and the NZ900. So they had a very specific business decision to put those high-end projectors out when they did, off cycle, right? And I think a lot of technology companies are moving this way. You see it in the gaming industry, you see it in the computer industry, and whatever, right? Everybody's kind of, they want to you're better off almost when you can kind of control your press, control your marketing, when you get all the attention and you're not buried in a deluge of other news kind of happening at the same moment. So I guess I kind of get it, nothing really else was happening in the home theater space right at this moment in time, and now bam, we've got this. And then so they had a really nice unique and specific opportunity to put the product out there and get all this attention, get all this discussion going. And then, yeah, of course, I think it's gonna be at Audio Device Live. It's gonna be all over Cedia, and so there'll be secondary waves of press and attention and all of that stuff coming. So, so again, they had it was ready to go. They can control the news cycle, get individual attention. It makes a lot of sense, I think. Let's see. A couple comments here. Alcel, notice some movies never make it to the store. Yeah, Godzilla -1, Axel Foley. Axel Foley might come. Isn't Axel? Wait, no. Is it Axel Foley is on Netflix or Amazon? I think it's Netflix. So I think we've seen the most. Well, we've seen content hit the Kaleidescape store from Disney Plus. Some of it was a while back now, but some of the older exclusive Disney Plus content came over. Was a Haunted Mansion and a couple of those things that were Disney Plus exclusives had come over. Yeah, so like this was a Disney Plus, I think streaming exclusive. Um, Timmy Failure, the one and only Ivan, we a bunch of family stuff actually, movies that we actually ended up watching. Um, and I think there has been some Amazon material as well. Uh, what's the is it Born, not, or Jack Ryan? I think some of that stuff has come. So we have had some kind of trickling through of some streaming specific content. Of course, with Warner and HBO, we've got uh, The Last of Us. Some of the TV series things have come over. So I think it's just a matter of the store. I guarantee that they know very well like how important it is to stock the store with content. And if there's anything missing from the store, it's not for lack of effort or trying and whatnot. It's a matter of sometimes very complex licensing deals and other things like that. So I'm crossing my fingers. I really hope to see Godzilla because I've long been wanting to round out my kaiju collection on Kaleidescape. Is really kind of goofy, like that we have one, two, three, four older Godzilla movies just kind of disparately in the store. My guess is that like Sony had some rights to these things and they kind of got picked up in the store a long time ago. But man, if we got the whole original Toho from the 1950s all the way up through the eras in the 70s, the 80s, etc., I'd buy that. I'd buy that content set day one. It would be in my collection day one. So we'll see what happens in Godzilla minus one. Godzilla minus one just got announced for US Blu-ray release as well. And so um, I'm not sure who's carrying it, who's making it. Like licensing and putting stuff out on platforms is a really complex web of agreements and sub licenses and distribution rights and all that sort of stuff. You've got different levels of rights holders and things. So I'm holding out hope. Um, and when they come, I'll buy them for sure. Um, so Ren asking if I have the V connected, does it auto select DV download version? Won't have to change it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Good question there. Right now, well, I mean, if we looked at what happened here, right? Is any of these in DV? Yeah, if I try to download this movie, it's telling me it knows. I mean, it's on my account. It knows my system. So I'm not sure what defines the default selector here. I don't think it's a setting. I don't believe it's an account setting anywhere. So when they come, we'll be curious to see like somebody that has a V and only a V, particularly if that V is connected to a Dolby Vision television, what do they get as the default setting? So everybody out there that's getting Vs uh, and integrating them into your system, as you go to download movies, pay attention to these selections and make sure that you're getting the right ones so you don't have to potentially delete and re-download. Looking for some comments. Here's one. Debenez, what's the price tag for the V series? So the V is MSRP $3,995. Kaleidescape likes the fives. It's kind of funny. I don't know why historically they've always been fives instead of nines. Could have been $39.99. They saved you $4. So thank goodness for that, right? So that's MSRP. Again, if you're interested to talk about it, if you're interested in the device, jumping into the platform, something like that, Jeremy at techthusiasm.net, and we can have a call and talk about what you got, what you're thinking, and see what we can do for you, get you onboarded if you're not in the ecosystem yet. So Ren's talking about the DV, extra metadata and DV file size for trim passes and other factors in the DV master. Yeah. Srincopter, can't wait to see the Strato V at Audio Voice Live before I decide to buy. Yep, I have to believe they'll have them there. I am going. I'll be there. I'll be there Friday to Sunday. I think is what the arrangements that I made. Unfortunately, there's actually like a press event on Thursday that I wasn't aware of until well after I had already made my travel arrangements. But yeah, I'll be there Friday. So if you see me, I'll probably wear the Techthusiasm shirts. Stop me. Let's have a conversation. Should be a good time. A bunch of the other home theater, YouTube, social media community friends are going, and I've been to every one. I went to the first one kind of my own accord. I went to the second one uh, as a press invitee and business partner. I love Audio Advice. I think it's a great company. I think it has awesome leadership. Always had a good experience with the folks I've interacted with there. Highly recommend. Highly recommend it. And again, I have to believe that the V's will be there. If the V's are not in all of the demo rooms, then man, they have to have a V. They'll have a Kaleidescape specific table. I presume they've had one, basically the same kind of base Kaleidescape table space the last 2 years. Hopefully they get two tables, two tables and more reps, because I think they're going to be even busier this year than they have been. That table has always been pretty busy in the past. But yeah, I think they'll have to have it there, and hopefully they do two screens as well. Actually, because come to think of it, at Audio Advice Live in the past, they've done one table, one screen, but now they probably want to have both the kind of the classic, what we'll call the classic, the UI, the full UI, and the standalone mode UI at the same time. If I was doing it, that's what I would make sure to do anyway, if it was my trade show. But yeah, well, so yep, I think I have to believe you'll have an opportunity to check it out in its entirety there. So, and Michael saying, wonder what percentage of these will be bought by existing customers. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be cool to see a lot of the business metrics. I love business metrics in business stuff. All the hobby interests that I have, whether it's comic books, video games, whatever. I'm always into the business details, nerd, I guess, in that respect. Yeah, Sammy talking about doing the own thing, control the narrative. Yep. Yeah, hit quarter financials. Yeah. Lots of reasons. So I think it's great. It's cool. I'm an impatient guy, so I'm happy to not wait for cool things and have them come sooner than later. So never argue with satisfying my impatience. Yeah, I'll hit this one. We talked about this a little bit, Supa. Why doesn't Kaleidescape offer a streaming service instead of selling boxes? Again, it's not the business model ultimately. The historically the platform, the software, the development, hardware, licenses, there's so much that goes in historically that has led like to the product that we have in our hands right now today. Um, and if you think about, you even can begin to comprehend like what they've had to go through in terms of working with studios to distribute content, lossless content, high bitrate fidelity content, security measures, and all of that. It's so easy to say like, well, why not just flip the whole company over to streaming, or why not just flip over to progressive downloads? And there's far more business and technical ramifications to that than right. And then I think a lot of people give credit to. There's a lot of inertia in business. So hey Don, welcome. And bought mine yesterday. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'll be really curious to see what people think about it. I've already processed a few orders. They're showing as pending. I'm not definitively sure when they might start shipping. I think it's going to be imminent. I don't think it will be a long wait. But orders that I placed already have not advanced to a shipping state yet. I don't think it'll be a very long wait. Let's see. Yeah, run box overprice, even as someone that's debating to be, but convenience and experience is worth it. Yeah, you're paying for a lot more than just a piece of hardware, right? We kind of know that there's a lot of engineering, a lot of licensing, a lot of agreement work, behind the scenes work, costly work, and that went into what we have, what they have, what they're selling, what they're providing, and all that. It is what it is. So either this has become attractive enough of a move to as for an individual to decide to jump in now to the platform if they've been eyeing it, they've been interested in it, intrigued by it, or whatever. Or it's not. And if it's not, then no big deal. Stay out. Don't buy it, and do something else. You still got your discs. You still got streaming. A lot of people are still going to stick with their servers and their RIP stuff. It's cool. It is what it is. Either you buy in or you don't buy in. Yeah, exactly, Don. Right. You're not just paying for the box. You're paying for everything that led for the ability for them to put this box in your hands and load it up with the store with thousands and thousands of movies in 4K and feed all of this stuff to you and the quality that it's in, and all the development stuff that's behind it. LBM WM3. If you have both the V and C, it sounds like you need to download both the HDR data for the projector and the DV for your DV TV. I don't believe that that's the case. So again, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's an element an element of nuance that I want to get some clarifications on, and it probably will end up making some kind of a dedicated video about it. I got a lot of questions I want to ask about this, but I don't want to be too annoying with all my deep technical clarifications and stuff like that. I would have to think though that having to download 2 movies in 2 different formats seems very wasteful in an ecosystem where storage is limited and at a premium price. So I believe, and I think and maybe somebody can correct me a little bit as well. Again, I know there was a lot of discussion about this in the V thread on the Kscape owners forum. I just haven't had the opportunity to go engage over there and read a lot of that. But I have to believe that in this scenario, I hope that you just download the DV movie because you need the DV for the DV, but then you'll get HDR10 otherwise in the HDR10 environment, Strato C, etc. Let's see. To Strato. Yeah, I'm curious to see I'm really interested to see what the resale used market, how the resale used market is impacted, and just how much hardware may come to the market if there are a lot of like C to V upgraders out there, and if the Strato S's just kind of really tank. Because again, if I were buying outside, knowing what I know, long history of experience, knowledge in the platform, if I wanted to buy in today and I was looking at the entry point, cost-effective entry point to get in, I would certainly be buying a V over a used Strato S at this point. And so, and take that at what you will. Yeah, I'm selling the V and I'm not selling used Strato S's. So I do stand to profit from that statement, but it's just true. So believe me, my uncle had a really great saying. He was always good for really great sayings. It didn't make hardly any sense, but it says, it's like, if you don't believe me, just ask me. That's it. I would buy the V over an S, over a used S. And the effective price of a used S should be significantly less now than the price of a new V, economically speaking, because the V is going to be better hardware and the faster downloads. It makes all the difference and stuff like that. So that's what I would be doing. Oh, hey, Michael. Welcome. Youth Man's hanging out with us tonight. Awesome. I'm just chilling, talking about Kaleidescape and the new V. Yeah, this is an interesting comment. It's always part of this. There's certain things that are inevitable, right? They have to be inevitably part of the discussion. Once Apple does high-res video, it's over for. It's not just high-res video though. It's high-res video. Cats are going at it. It's high-res video and lossless audio. It's both. And I'm a big proponent of Apple. I agree entirely that a lot of folks, perhaps in a lot of environments, like I've proven it on the channel. If I were going to stream anything, I were going to build a digital library of content, like anywhere. Apple iTunes is the place to go. They've consistently enhanced quality, and they consistently deliver amongst the best streaming quality available of all the services. I've compared a ton of them. I think they have the best streaming device as well when it comes to the Apple TV. So, I mean, operatively, could Apple put pressure, significant business pressure on Kaleidescape? Yeah, absolutely they could, but they don't. They haven't. Can they? Sure. Will they? We don't know. We don't know. I've sat. I could have not decided to buy into Kaleidescape several years ago. I could have sold my Kaleidescapes anywhere along the line these last years under an expectation that this will be the year, WWDC 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Apple's going to go high res. It's going to go lossless audio. They didn't do it. And in the interim, I've happily enjoyed the Kaleidescape experience in my home theater the entire time. So will that be one more year? Will that be 5 more years, 10 more years, even longer? I don't know. We don't know. Time will tell, and it will resolve all things. But you can't buy technology based or make technology decisions based on what something may or may not do, right? Just we buy what's available to us and what we have. So yeah, Michael asking, curious what the minimal layout will look like. I'm thinking larger 2 rows of 5. Yeah, we should have some of you guys like jump in here. If you guys want to come in, Michael, Sammy, I'll send you some links. I can go for a while yet. I don't have a pressing need to log off. We got a pretty good sizable group here. I think here, let's go back to where was it? I think it was up here. Yeah, this picture. I think there's more underneath. I think there's more underneath the bottom of that UI. So I'm pretty sure there's got to be at least like a favorites row. But I think too, my gut feeling, again, I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I got to be really careful when I talk about this stuff, especially now. I've got I'm like a little kid with my hand in a bunch of different cookie jars. So got to tread very carefully. I haven't seen it. I don't know. So as a software developer, somebody that really likes UIs and comments a lot on usability and UIs on the channel, my gut would tell me that these rows don't ever wrap. So there's never like a second row. If you have, what do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We see 7 movie posters there. If I were doing it, I would have just had the row go all the way to the end instead of wrapping potentially, but it may wrap. We'll see. The Greatest Showman on this list right here is like kind of faded out a bit on the right. So I would think everything is one single row, and it's just a matter of like how many rows of different types of stuff do you need to present. Obviously, we can see new, paused, played. We know that the UI, the device allows you to do things like favorite content. So there's got to be a favorites row, I would imagine, but I'm not sure what else. I'm not sure what else there could be. Sorry, I'm doing multiple things here in the background. I'm not sure what else could be there. I like favorites makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. I'm not sure what else. Yeah, 2 rows of 5, 2 larger rows of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's already 7. There's already 7 things on the one row. So it'll be curious. And then what else? What other sections of the UI could they end up? Could they put in? Good question here. I think if you use the HD Fury thing, can you pass DV to the projector? There is a bunch. I don't know specifically all the answers to this, but there is a bunch of conjecture. Well, not conjecture. There's a bunch of discussion actually. I think Harper, is it Dave Harper? Harper Vision. He's in the Kaleidescape, and I think he's the guy that does a bunch of that LLDV kind of stuff. I've never really played around with that very much. But there's a bunch of discussion about that in the Strato V Kaleidescape Kscape owners forum thread. So you might want to go check that out. They're talking a lot. There's pages of conversation about DV profiles and connecting different things to different things and stuff like that. I am curious. I don't know the answers as well. Actually, Sammy might be able to comment on some of that, the prospects of what happens, or any value propositions or extra value propositions of running the sorry, just sending out some invites in case any of the friends want to kind of pop in. With the Mad VR, like, is there actually some cool, interesting reasons that you may want a V with a Mad VR or not? So yeah, I'm talking about that lossless stuff too. But yeah, I've said the same thing. I've said it in so many videos. They've done high-res music. Video has to be next, right? But they did not release lossless pass-through on the Mac unless you can point me to something that suggests otherwise. The stuff on the Mac is only, and I have the video for it. I had my Mac pre-Sequoia beta and post-Sequoia beta, and the difference is the Apple TV app prior to what they did on the Mac will not send out Dolby Atmos at all. In Sequoia, it sends out Dolby Atmos, but it's lossy Dolby Atmos MAT, Dolby Atmos MAT. It's the same stuff that the Apple TV streams. So there's some differentiation there. I didn't, we'll see if there really is more in the core of the software or the SDK. Something like Infuse would have to be the one to take advantage of that. And we'll see what they do. Infuse actually announced that in their new version, they're going to have Apple Vision Pro support, which I think is pretty provocative. But so we'll see. We'll see where Apple goes. There's no specific announcement in any foregone conclusion that high quality, high bitrate video and lossless audio streaming is coming to Apple platforms right now. So I think to reuse my specific quote, don't unplug your Kaleidescapes yet. Let's see. Sren Compter, if you buy the V, can you add a Tera Prime and have the storage on the V and the Prime? No. Well, yes and no is a compound question. Yes, you can add a Tera Prime. So, and I think, again, this is one of the smartest things about what they did with the V. I think it would have been short-sighted and not a great decision to have put out the V as a standalone player and only as a standalone player, right? But what they did instead is they have the dual mode thing. So you have the V as the standalone when it is running standalone, but as soon as you group it, right? This is what they call it. This is the keyword, grouping. Grouping with the server activates the iconic Kaleidescape covers, view, and list menus and navigating for larger movie libraries. So basically you go to the standard UI by adding a prime to the V. However, when that happens, the storage in the V is disabled. Not entirely sure why they did that. I mean, you could surmise that, why not score a little extra 1 terabyte of capacity. But there's got to be networking, interface, data management, network management reasons, technical reasons why they did it. So, so yeah, just to be clear again, you can add it, which is great. But when you do add a prime to a V, the V storage, as I understand it, is disabled. It shuts down. Yeah, use man. Yep, no need for the shuffle feature. Yep, no, not with just limited content like that. Oh, Sammy comment. So here we're talking about the DV stuff. DV trim has HDR10 base layer in general. Yeah, so ideally it should be the DV if it's a DV display, and if it'll play DV, and if not, it would be the HDR10 version. The question I want to ask, and my kind of assumption, I might be giving bad advice here, but is if you're downloading stuff to your Teras going forward, just to save on the possibility that you ever end up with a DV capable zone, maybe you should just be downloading the DV versions all the time. And oh wait, here, Michael's commenting. C and V mixed, you need both copies. Only the V can process DV. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that goes back to the concept. Again, I haven't dug in. This is the one big part of the whole thing that I haven't dug into, So that probably leads a lot to why we get this error. The system does not contain any players that can play 4K Dolby Vision. So I guess if that's the case, there's an interesting conundrum there, because then we're saying if you have a big Tera, maybe right now you have this, right? This is Michael's exact situation. He's the one. Actually, if anybody's wondering too, I posted the community post about the download speeds of the 72. That's Michael's that's Michael's unit. So if you have an existing C in a Tera, you add a V to a zone, yeah, then if you have to dual download. So there that could be a reason that folks with Cs and DVV zones might want to be upgrading their Stratos in their theaters to also be Vs, because then you can get away with only downloading the Dolby Vision variant of the content, but it will play everywhere. That's an interesting. I'll get clarification on this. There will be a video. There will be a video. So, yeah, Mike's confirming again, Michael. Yep, that if you connect to Tera, the internal storage on the V is disabled. Sammy's saying that's how DV works. They could have done something different, but in general, this is how DV works. And I think that goes into some of the profiles. Yeah, profile 5, 7, 8. And there's a lot of discussion. Again, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of this stuff, and I probably need to read that thread, then ask a bunch of questions, and then make the video for like why they chose the profiles they chose, and video fidelity was a reason for that as well. I thought I saw some comments that like profile 8 doesn't look as good, or not, it isn't as high a quality as they were looking to do, and technical reasons behind everything. So yeah, used S's. What'll happen to used S's? Drop like hotcakes. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I always like paying attention to the business. Oh wait, yeah, profile 5. Sorry, they're using 5. They didn't want to use 8, and I think 7 didn't give them, or whatever. There was another number that didn't give them the capabilities that they needed to be able to have as much of an integration as we're kind of able to have between these players. Yep. Talipo08 saying, yeah, honestly, video on Apple TV. Yeah, streaming is awesome. And I've said it again. A lot of it's funny because like I don't know, I don't want to say it like that. There's a lot of pundits though that put down like streaming quality. I think streaming quality is quite good. And it's just, if you really have a system that you've put a lot of time and effort into building up, you put a lot of money into high quality components, don't you want peace of mind that you're playing the highest fidelity content available into that system, particularly, too, if we're going all the way to talking about dedicated rooms, expensive projectors, you got video processors in the mix, like this stuff. It's just Kaleidescape is just an absolute no-brainer in that regard. Now we're coming down, right? The entry point MSRP price has dropped more than 50%. And now we've got a viable way to bring that level of content to the living room. So, but if you don't want it and it's not worth spending the money, go with the streaming. Streaming is really good. It's really good. It's getting better. Don't bet against the internet, but we'll see if it ever really gets to the game over mode or not. So, yeah, so youth man in the house. Yep. Yeah. Michael's a really good friend. He's been a friend and a mentor as well. In the last years of doing the YouTube stuff and all that. So legitimately good person. Let's see. Erod, can you download? I'm not sure what you mean on this question. Can you download existing UHD discs to the V? I think what you're asking is, can you do disc to digital on the V? And so make sure of that in the question, but I think that's what you're asking. And just to make sure to reiterate again, yes, you can do disc to digital. So it works the same way on the V as it does in the rest of the platform. I have the videos out there on it. I really need to update people are probably going to call me a shill. Actually, I've already been long before these last couple days of learning about the V. I had already been intending to do like a complete overhaul um, of my Kaleidescape material because a lot of my real deep dive technical stuff is actually pretty dated now. We're getting older, boys and girls. Time is flying by, um, and it sucks. But like some of my what I would call like my real marquee Kaleidescape content that still remains, I think, unique on YouTube and stuff like that is like 2.5 years old or 2 years old at this point. So I need to film like a current state, updated state of the platform. And I was planning to do that anyway. It's like on my agenda list. I've got a specific scope and breakdown and intention and stuff that I want to do for it. But it'll be coming, hopefully coming soon. Um, yeah. Sammy, yeah, speaking of Apple, where's the projector mode? Yeah, I know. I know it. I wanna see that. I really wanna see that. I have the feeling that that could be great or it could be bad if they didn't do certain things right. Um, but I have good hope, so we'll keep updating. I've got both of my Apple TVs set to the developer beta profile, so as soon as an update comes and the widescreen Apple TV mode comes, we'll be talking about it for sure. Um Let's see, just scrolling comments. Yeah, talking about the UI, Michael. One row makes sense if they have rows for other things like favorites. Yeah. The yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Again, I love UI design. We built my software teams. Um, we do a lot of app-based stuff. I've been in a lot of discussions about very fine detail of like this widget and this control, and I press this button. Should it be over here? And should it open this up? And where should that thing open? And how should this stuff be aligned on this dialogue? Some of the minutia of software development. So I enjoy it. Um, yeah, a couple more comments, just kind of exploring what we all know, kind of what we're all been learning in the last whatever 40ish hours or so. Another interesting thing is they said the movies will be queued to delete. Yeah, but if you tag them as favorites, they won't be deleted. Yep. So you can because the and I did learn actually I made a mistake. There was a little correction to something that I had said. I think I had referred to the ability. I think in the video that I made, I referred to the like the automatic deletion thing. I had to presume that it might have been an option, but it was confirmed to me that it's not actually an option. It's always enabled. So the deletion logic is always running, and your protection against having a movie not be deleted off of the V is to favorite it. So again, I think pretty smart UI design altogether. Yeah, I wish you guys with all your fibers and stuff. Yeah, that's why he got 4-minute downloads or whatever on a 4-minute downloads on a hard disk drive based Terra Prime. I can't get fiber, unfortunately. Our house, when we built our house, we finished the basement with the original construction, so things are closed up, and I have, in terms of wires and reaching things, like I have what I have where I have it, and we have a really hard time. I've had AT&T out here a couple different times, and we haven't come up with a plan to get the fiber line from the outside of the house to the rack, or even to a place where it would make sense to be able to put a modem and network it to the rest of the network system. So I might be stuck on cable. But if I do the Ubiquity thing, I'll probably buy the Ubiquity cable modem and keep all of that uniform. So Ubiquity doesn't have a fiber modem, but we'll see. I might have them out again. We kind of have a loose idea. We can come through a certain part of the the backyard, but like then we got to go through some beds because we have some hardscape out there and we can't get under it. It's kind of a mess. So let's see. Yep. If anybody's got more of them, drop those questions. See some conversation about Audio Advice Live. Yep. I fully expect you want to see the V in action. That's probably going to be a place to do it. Have to believe they'll bring it there. Hopefully we'll see the NZ900 there. There's going to be some cool stuff, I'm sure, at the show. Yeah, Don saying the VV is not meant to be a storage device. Absolutely. It's a device working perfectly for, well, it's it's a perfect rental box. I agree with that 100%. But it's a great cycle box. It's like, cycle the content, download what you want to watch, keep a couple next things queued up, and download and let it delete, and there you go. Erod asking, how long does it take to download a movie to the drive? So download speeds differ by virtue of which device it is in the Kaleidescape platform, and they differ by your available internet speed. So a lot of the speeds that you see quoted are based on nominally having 1 gig internet service, which is actually what I have. I have gigabit cable-based internet service. The primes download faster than the non-primes when it comes to the servers. The SSDs can download faster than the hard disk versions because the data can be written to the drives faster when they're SSDs. They quote the SSDs down to like 4 minutes for a 4K movie. I think the Tera primes are quoted at 8, if I recall correctly. And then like my Tera, which is the non-prime, is quoted at like 10 or 12. The new V is quoted at 10. So they're all in that range, but it's going to vary. That again, based on a couple of different factors. And if you want to hit the really high download, the absolute maximum download speeds, like what Michael was getting on his 72, then you got to have the pipe, and you got to have the 2.5G networking for it as well. But in a lot of cases, talking about 4 versus 6 or 6 versus 8, we're kind of splitting hairs. At the point that you're at 10 minutes, nominally, 10 minutes or less, in my opinion, I call that functionally on demand. You're functionally on demand at that point. You can have a movie kicked off to download and available to press play and watch in less time than it takes to get a drink, get a snack, use the bathroom, and sit down in your chair. And especially if you have a family of 4, and especially depending on how motivated your children are to do the things that they're asked to do when they're asked to do them versus lollygagging around. I think I could actually get by with my daughter nowadays. I could probably actually get by with 45-minute downloads. Michael saying, Kay did a great job of dialogue on the forum the last couple of days. Yeah, I think so. I love the engagement. Kscape Owners Forum. If you are interested in the Kscape ecosystem, prospective owner, you are an owner, you want to be on the Owners Forum. That's where a lot of the really great discussion happens. That's where Kaleidescape folks engage directly with the owner community. So the place to be. There's the owner's thread on ABS is pretty good and stuff as well, but all of that direct engagement, all that stuff, it happens over on Kscape Owners Forum. So what do we got here? Welcome. A lot of new names coming through and people coming in and out. Jeffrey Shorts, welcome. Check it out. Watch it later for sure. Dolby Vision profiles. String Compter saying audio device video. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't watch their video. I think yesterday there was it Michael had a video, Shane had a video, Audio Advice had a video, I had a video right at 9, or all around the same time there. But I didn't really get a chance to watch the other guys' videos or their takes on stuff. Supernova saying, I applaud them trying to make something a little more affordable. Yeah, still, it is. It is. At least it fits more reasonably well, like into a broader range of systems, right? At an MSRP of 9K in a living room, it really becomes a majority piece. I mean, for most people, even if you're looking at like an 83-inch, 85-inch panel, or even a 100-inch panel, right? Kaleidescape is what was more expensive than even the display for a living room setup. Now at 4K MSRP, it opens up much more feasibility, much more options, I think, for them. But yeah, still $4,000. A lot of things you can do with $4,000 in life for a lot of folks. So, and if it doesn't fit your system, it doesn't fit your budget, then don't get it. There's a lot of things I'd like to have that don't fit my budget. I want an Amazing Fantasy 15 on that wall, but it'll be a while before that happens. Oh, the other thing that we wanted to look at in here. So let's check this out. I briefly peeked in here again. I haven't even had time to really interact with these specific elements of the stuff yet. But under on the Kaleidescape store webpage, right? You go down. This is a new entry, Strato V readiness, which I thought was pretty interesting. So we say Strato V plays a different HD movie format than earlier Kaleidescape players. This was an interesting takeaway as well. So I don't know the details. Like, obviously, there was an old codec in use and a new codec in use. If anybody knows or they've seen it talked about somewhere, feel free to share. But yeah, most HD content in the store has been converted to be playable on Strato V. More will come over time. Again, MVP versus do you wait until you have everything ready to go day one? Doesn't always make sense. Get the product out there and get business moving, right? All SD and 4K movie store content will be playable on the V. So I think, man, I'm worried about SD, but 4K is covered for sure. So on my system, 5 downloaded HD movies are not compatible with Strato V. So this doesn't mention movies that are in my account. It's just movies that it's currently seen visible on my server. So view recommended actions, choose the display type you plan to connect the Strato V player to. We will be connecting it to 4K HDR. So when I click that, I get this screen. So, or these items. Action required for the movies in this section need some action on your behalf to make them ready to play on a V. For the best overall experience, we suggest applying recommendations in the order listed below. 1, update your downloaded HD titles to a compatible HD version. So if I hit this, I guess this will, I shouldn't do this yet because actually I will probably want to end up using this situation to make a video kind of talking about this very specifically, because now this concept is buried 2 hours into the live stream. But so these two movies are downloaded. They're sitting on my Terra in the rack in the basement right now. And we need to fundamentally delete them so that they can be re-downloaded with whatever the codec changes of the movies. Or here, another option, download a compatible SD version that you own. That's an interesting one. I guess I'm not entirely sure why. So all 4 of these movies are on my thing. So I guess maybe Gravity, what this means is that Master and Commander and Batman Mask of the Phantasm have been updated to the new encode, and it can be updated to the new encode and played on a V. Gravity and Where the Wild Things Are have not been updated in the store to the new encode. So if I wanted to play these on a V, my only option would be to downgrade them to SD. I'm not going to do that anyway, but so probably in a matter of time, right? More like they said specifically, these other titles will get updated, and then that situation will go away. So ready to play. This is everything. Everything else on the system that I have downloaded is ready to go. And then here, not yet compatible. Home Alone 2. Yes, I keep Home Alone 1 and 2 always present on my system because those are some kids' favorites that they rewatch, particularly around Christmas time. But anyway, not yet compatible. So, and this is not yet compatible, but it doesn't show up here, probably because there's no SD version of the film in the store. Yeah, so only available in HD, but Gravity, it says HD there as well. Well, no, aspect ratio, HD SD. So keep that in mind. I guess if you have an existing system, you might need to check this section, this section of your store and do a little bit of re-downloading or download management there. But stay tuned. Again, I'll be looking into some of the details about the specific HDR DV profile and all that stuff. So yeah, Ren's saying the converting to H264 to HEVC 265. Yeah, that would be my guess as well. Is that's what the codec changes. I don't know or think that they're using anything newer than that, like AV1 or some of the other like codecs that are out there. So Don saying, I think they dropped the ball on the Ethernet port. It really would be pennies on the dollar to go from 1 to 2.5. Well, there's the port, right, too, but then there's potentially the chip IO and bandwidth and other things internal that maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit more. Maybe there's a little bit more to it than that. Ren saying Prime SSD probably would pair better with a V. Still bigger movies like Endgame. I don't think it would matter, honestly. To me, I don't think you in the ecosystem. I don't think that anybody buys an SSD Tera unless you have a reason to buy an SSD Tera. Otherwise, almost unilaterally, I think everybody would be better off with significantly larger storage. Either way, just spend less money potentially, right? Or you'd be better off with larger storage versus what the SSD Teras do. The only real thing that the SSD Teras do is download marginally faster, right? You're making on demand, fundamental on demand to slightly faster fundamental on demand, but it's like it's stability, right? So think about the boats and in those types of applications, the RVs, right, where you've got spinning hard disks jostling around and stuff like that. So I think that's the more yeah you have it. No comment. Speaking hypothetically, um, but yeah, I've always understood that to be the differentiating, the major factor that most people, you're putting this thing in a stable home theater rack in a home, dollar for dollar, buy more storage because you're going to fill it up with movies in time. So Michael asking, will you test a V on your G2 projector or both? Yeah, I'll probably hook it up everywhere, I would imagine. Definitely have to hook it up in the living room to check out the specifics of like how the Dolby Vision stuff works. Again, I would be able to hopefully answer some of the questions about what are the ramifications of having a V versus a C and a Mad VR. Actually, that might be something I want to talk to the Kaleidescape and the Mad VR guys about at people at Audio Vice coming up, because I'm curious if the V does something really interesting on the Mad VR, that could be compelling. But I don't. Ultimately, I just need to decide what I'm going to do. Fundamentally, I should just sell what I have and upgrade everything. Just go to V's and go to Primes and be current for the sake of the fact that it's cool and new. I really want it. Well, not need to. I don't need to do anything, but I really would like to make content about it for the channel. So I got to make sure to have one in my hands to be able to do that. And I'm still really intrigued as well to do the thought experiment, physical experiment of running a V in V mode for a while, and seeing what I think of it. So I think that would actually work less well in my setup too. Should kind of be an interesting side effect because as I mentioned, I run the C in a Matrix Zone 1, Zone 2 kind of scenario. But I don't know how the V would behave. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know how the BV would behave in a matrix environment where one zone is DV capable and one zone is not. So that may be rationale enough alone to finally just go ahead and get 2 players and have one in the living room, one in the theater, forget the zone 2 matrix switching stuff, and then I can have them very dedicated for their environments. Um, the theater one would run HDR10 and it would run bitstream audio output. The one in the living room would very deliberately run DV and it would run PCM decoded audio. So I'd be actually taking advantage of the 2 really big things that the V does specifically. Because again, I can't plug the C into my television because any movies in DTS, I have no sound with the way that I run things now. Because right now I rely on the TV to be my decoder. Because then I go HDMI sources into the television, optical down to the Anthem STR. Don asking, is the C being phased out? All bundles on the dealer page include the V. So they're my understanding is that it's not. It's sticking around, right? Again, they have to maintain some reasonable level of support for the co-star and the folks that still have the Premiere systems. Hopefully we can get more and more of those folks upgraded out of the Premiere systems and fully into the like current Strato generation type systems. So the C does the co-star thing. We'll see. That could change. Maybe the C does get phased out, or maybe it gets price reduced. I don't know, but that is correct. So as a dealer, right? I know and speak to this stuff a little bit. Most of the promos have been like quarterly based, and promos often tend to change on the quarter. So and we just changed relatively recently from Q2 to Q3, and the as Don's saying here, the promos did change, the bundles did change. What used to exist in the promo bundles as a buy a C, buy a Terra, get movie credits is now buy a V, buy a Terra, get movie credits. And the C is not in the, yeah, Don's a dealer also. Yep. Yeah, just kind of sharing for everybody else too. But yeah, you're right. The V is not in the, the C is not in the bundles anymore. So that's obviously telling us something about what where the focus is and whatever. And so and I couldn't imagine why any of us to a new customer why we wouldn't sell these overseas. I think even if you're adding players to an existing system, right? I would expect in my house, I would at this point I would only buy V's going forward, but I don't have any specific reason to need the C. I don't have a co-star set up or anything like that. Master's Lessons asking, when was the bundle announced? It wasn't really announced. It's like a dealer communication. We got a communique about the new quarterly bundles. Everything that kind of all like came around together around the same times and stuff. When did we get this? Yeah, it was yesterday. Current promotions run through September 30th, so through the end of Q3. There are combo bundles, and they actually improved them, which is cool. I think they actually had they didn't have enough step in all the different bundles, but so if you buy a V and you add a Terra, you get movie credits. They're not actually price reduced. So a Strato V plus compact plus Terra bundle is the same as adding the MSRP of a V and whatever Terra together is the price. But you get movie credits. So was it 500 500 with an 8, 750 with a 22, 1,000 with a 48, and it keeps ticking up kind of from there. So, and then interestingly, the other one that had been running for a while, it's still running, is a if you add storage to an existing system, there's a movie credit promo as well, and it's the same numbers. So for all the folks out there, if you have a Strato S and you wanted to augment your system with more storage, you didn't necessarily need a V, but you wanted to add storage to your existing S or something. Um, you can add a Tera and get some movie credits, beef up your storage count, and get the faster downloads. But there's also a movie store credit if you add a V to an existing system, because technically the promo is for adding storage devices to a system. I thought this was interesting. I was kind of surprised it was in the list actually. Um, there's a modest movie store credit if you have an existing Kaleidescape system to add a V to it. Yeah, every new V gets a promo. No, actually, no. Every new V, if you're a brand new customer, um, if you're a brand new customer coming into the ecosystem with the V, there's not inherently any promo credit or movie credit available built in. If you have something else, again, and you add a V to an existing system, then there's a modest credit. Um, the only thing that's out there for the only thing that's out there for to get a little bit of movie credit if you're coming into the platform brand new is they have had a referral system. So find a friend, make a friend, whatever that has a Kaleidescape uh, system and can give a referral code, and you can um, and you can get $100 of movie store credit, and the other person gets the credit as well. So I've long had a Techthusiasm referral credit. However, because I've changed status now, I understand I need to stop. I need to stop using it. So I'll probably make a separate announcement about it in general, and I'll take the referral code links and stuff out. So if you had any inclination to buy a Kaleidescape somewhere else and use a Techthusiasm referral code, please don't use it anymore. Um, it's reasonably expected to not be a dealer and benefiting from referrals at the same time. So I think the referral thing was for personal friends, and then for it was like an influencer kind of benefit thing. So um, find somebody else that has a referral code, and use that. Stop using the Techthusiasm ones if you were thinking that you might. So I need to uh, I need to go through. It's gonna probably this weekend. I got some work to do, some administrative work to do. I'm going to be deleting some of the content from the descriptions of all the videos and stuff like that. God, I wish there was an AI, like a YouTube Studio AI tool or something to go do that. It's going to be so monotonous. I literally have to click into every video, and um, kind of like every active posting where the referral recommendation may be, and blow it out. So yeah, fun times. There's a way. I need to hire my kids to do that. Master lessons. Honestly, the bundle looks awesome. Yeah, the bundles have always been a good deal, I think. I think it's been a great promo. It's been there for a while, in a couple different ways. So, um, right, helping give a little boost for on buying a new complete system, or adding expansion to existing systems. So when Michael added his 72, he got a big old blast of movie store credit. It's pretty cool. Well, this is a good question too. So yeah, keep if you got the business, the buying, the dealer type questions and stuff. Happy to field that stuff as well. Any deals for trading in a C? There are not trade-in deals for trading in a C. There still remains some level of like well, let me actually double check before I say this. A lot of the programs that are available have to do with like upgrading systems, adding um, right, adding teras to systems, and the older your stuff is as well, like the better the program tends to be. Um, there still does remain a buyback program as well, but it doesn't yeah, it doesn't include the C. So folks that have Cs, um, there's not like a Kaleidescape necessarily dealer supported way to trade them out, trade them in, or upgrade them. You're pretty much your option is basically sell them, right? Sell them used and then upgrade. Um, if you are going to sell used Kaleidescape equipment, I would just personally recommend to go list them on AVS forum, list them on Kaleidescape owners forum in particular. Uh, there's definitely a lot of qualified buyers and people looking specifically for Kaleidescape stuff on Kscape owners forum. So generally a pretty great place to list used stuff. I don't know. There may be some dealers out there willing to do something, but just keep in mind if any dealer is actually willing to take a C as a trade-in, it's not a Kaleidescape um, like program per se. It's just like that dealer willing to do something. So maybe just like Best Buy or whatever, right? I want to upgrade my Mac. I could take my Mac to Best Buy and take probably less money for it. Um, just to get it out of my hands, get some cash, and then go down the aisleway and buy the new Mac or your car, right? Trade your car in at the dealer or sell it outright. There's going to be some difference in price and stuff there, but there's also a difference in convenience. So if any dealers are doing that, more power to them. What they're doing is probably giving a lower rate to just take the C off your hands, and then they'll resell that to another project or something along those lines. I've had a couple folks ask me about that, and I'm not looking I'm not looking to offer anything like that. I don't want to have the stock or the money tied up in the stock. So I'd rather and honestly too, it's a dealer thing. You sell it to me, I got to buy it from you at a price that makes it viable for me to make a profit when I sell it again. And I just that's not something that I was looking to do anyway. So go sell it on ABS or Kscape Owners Forum and go about it that way. Michael's asking, can you sell credits, gift cards as a dealer? Oh, good question. I haven't really looked into that. I think you can. Yeah, there is a product code actually. There's a product code to buy movie store credits dollar for dollar if you wanted to convert dollars into movie store credit. I don't believe that there's a methodology to do like a gift card or something. I know that's been asked for. I think that's been asked for quite a while. I remember that being like a feature request on posted in around Kscape owners forum and stuff like that. So, the home theater fan in the family could get Kaleidescape movie store credits from the spouse or the family or whatever as a Christmas gift or something. But I don't think that there's a really great way to do that. But there could be. I'm not entirely sure. Still learning some of the finer details of the offerings and stuff like that. Yeah, Ren saying there should be content set sales soon anyway. Always sales. Love it. Weekly sales, usually on Tuesdays, seasonal sales, topical sales, big movie comes out. A lot of times they'll put other things related to that movie on sale. Content sets go on sale. Buy the horror movies at Halloween. Buy the Star Wars movies on May the 4th. Black Friday, Christmas. Lots of opportunities to always buy discounted stuff to build up the library. Master lessons. Ecosystem can be intimidating, so I appreciate this channel. Cool. I'm thankful for that. I like that. Like that comment a lot better than some of the other ones that I read earlier. But yeah, whatever. I really like it. Legit. I'm legit. I actually had somebody tell me today that they were happy to buy their V from me because they talked to a couple other dealers, and, like, those other dealers or whatever were, they were selling the device and they knew some information, but, like, I'm just hyped up. I like it. I get excited about it. I'm hyped up talking to the guy, like, "Oh, it's gonna do this. It's gonna be cool. You're gonna do this." And, there's a reason I called the channel Techthusiasm, because it's a fun hobby. I love this stuff. I love technology. I love messing with it, all that stuff. And so the things that I like, right, I'm not like a big review channel pulling all kinds of different equipment through here. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for all the things that I already do already. So I don't have time to be some major review channel. I like the channel focused on the stuff that I really like, stuff that I'm doing within my system, going a little deeper on the things that the things that I enjoy. And, it's been Anthem, Apple TV, Kaleidescape, JVC projector, the theater setup, details, stuff like that. So yeah, Ren saying, yep, you'd recoup more money on AVS. Yeah, you sell to somebody that needs to resell to make money, you're gonna sell for less. So I think, was it, if Michael's still here, and he had commented a couple of C's went up for sale and sold, I think today on the owners forum, and I think they were listed in like the $2,000 range, if I recall correctly, what you had said, 2,000, 2,500, something like that. So I think that might be around the same price that they'd already been selling it recently, or maybe just a tick less. But so we'll see what happens though, if once the V's actually come uh, into people's hands, if there's more of a rush of C's available on the used market. So Don saying you have to call Kaleidescape to apply movie store credits. Yeah, there we go. Two C's sold very quickly, less about $2,300 a piece. So there you go. If you have a C, you want to upgrade, that's about your calculus. So you'll be ponying up a little bit more. But if you really need the features, right? Maybe you had a C in a living room and you really want the Dolby Vision. Maybe you have a C in a living room and it's been a pain hooking up the audio properly, and you need the decoding, stuff like that. Would be a reason to could be a lifesaver in certain setup conditions. Make it real viable. I'll probably start wrapping up here, maybe towards the half hour. My voice is starting to feel a little thin. Julius, have you bought any electronics off of Amazon since it's Prime Day? No, I bought anything. um, there's really nothing that I'm shopping at the moment. I'm shopping the NZ900. That's what I'm shopping. That's not coming off of Amazon. I didn't even post. I should have probably posted some links that some affiliate links as Prime Day is going on. Try to make sure folks remembered it, that there's some Techthusiasm links to shop on Amazon. People buying some good stuff there. But yeah, there's really nothing that I'm shopping for. NZ900, eventually the Ubiquity stuff, figure out the Kaleidescape, not and some old comics, not buying old comics on Amazon. Ren saying, kind of surprised that dealers got the V listed, but Best Buy isn't yet. I was actually kind of surprised that that it even went into the dealer portal and everything yesterday. I wasn't sure, I guess, I didn't know the details. I going in, I thought maybe Tuesday was going to be just announcement and it would come a little bit later, but but it all happened. It's all happening right away. But again, nothing's shipped yet. So we'll see when they actually start going out. Um, he's actually saying it's there now. We'll see when they actually some of the pending orders that I've got switch over uh, from kind of waiting to action. Don saying, "Oh, probably going to sell his NZ8. You going to get into 900, Don, or what are you looking at?" curious. It'll be fun to see the 900. I don't know whether I'll have the 900 potentially before Audio Device Live. I kind of hope so. It doesn't take that long to get it, especially if I sell the NX7 sooner than later. I guess if we want to watch some movies, we'll just watch them in the living room in the interim. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can't wait. Like, it's like to me, it's like an end game maneuver, and it's going to be real gratifying. Like, it's kind of like a crowning moment of doing the channel, the roadmap of the last couple of years, to sit in the room and have K, Mad VR, and a JVC NZ900 flagship on the big 163-inch screen. So after that, it's like there's nothing. um, well, there is more, but fundamentally, there's nothing else that I could see really doing. Um, After an NZ900, all that's left is a GTZ 380 or some Barco stuff, and it would take some other significant monumental shift of the Techthusiasm home theater to even consider something something like that. So it'll be cool to be kind of end game. Although I guess I need to get the V, need to get the V in the prime. Technically, I'm not end game with the latest stuff, but there's nothing wrong with the current K system. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a crowning achievement, and to have all of that stuff, have that stuff happen. Well, I had the Kaleidescape anyway beforehand, but the Mad VR, and being able to even get up to the JVC 900 is really a function of opportunity and growth, and kind of riding the wave of everything that's happened as a result of the channel and stuff. So big thank you to everybody out there. When we put that in, I hope other folks kind of share in the enjoyment. But that's the plan. I'm on the plan. So yeah. Oop, Don saying he saw the NZ900 at N-Wave. That's another thing I didn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to N-Wave. We had a standing family vacation weekend planned for a soccer tournament with my daughter, coinciding with M-Wave, so I couldn't make it. And I haven't really even been able to catch up on a lot of the takeaways from M-Wave. I kind of want to go actually watch a bunch of the session recordings and things that Michael was getting set up out of M-Wave. I think that would be pretty cool to check out. I saw a minor amount of sentiment, or at least a couple mentions maybe in some other guys' videos and streams and whatnot, um that the 900 really impressed there. So like it's a real deal kind of thing. Actually, I think that might have been on Ryan's on the continuation of the Sunday night podcast that they're doing. I think they might have mentioned that on one of the shows. I was zipping through some of those. So yeah, I'm excited, super excited for that. ThinCompter also looking for deals on the NZ800, or if they release a replacement for the NZ7. Haven't decided yet. Yeah. So I'll make my conjecture on that. I have to think that there's an NZ700 coming. Kind of pulling the Apple deal where, like, you announce the Pros first, and then the do the MacBook Pros first and the MacBook Airs later, kind of thing. I think that's kind of what JVC is doing. Put out the big dogs first, and then follow up with the smallers. So I think there's got to be a revision to the NP5 and the NZ7 on its way. Historically, I would have figured like Cedia. I would have figured Cedia is the place for all of it, but we're starting to get stuff ahead of Cedia now. Who knows? Maybe there'll be something at Audio Device Live. There were some new product announcements at Audio Device Live last year. Some speakers and things from a few brands. So could happen there. Could happen at Cedia. Could happen any other time. But I think they're coming. I think they're coming. Stay tuned on the JVC front. Again, I've got some things moving with JVC. Crossing fingers that it works out, and kind of deepen my affinity and relationship with JVC. Andy, I got my NZ8 3 months ago. I wish I knew there was a new projector. Yeah, that's technology. Sometimes that happens. Don saying short the man VR, but you have the Lumigen. That's you're good. Depending on the setup, it's Lumigen. They do a lot of the same things. Ooh, interesting. Best Buy as early as the 23rd. Let's check this out. I think you're talking about the Strato V pre-order. Let's see what Best Buy tells us. Let me make sure I don't have any private info on the screen here. Yep, there it is. Kaleidescape Strato V movie player server, $3,995. Oh, shipping. Yeah, get it by Tuesday, July 23rd. Get it by Tuesday, July 23rd. Pick up in store Friday, July 26th. So there we go. I figure they'll start shipping within the week. Kind of my gut feeling. Don't buy it at Best Buy, though, when you can get it from other places like me or Don or other friends of the channel, too. Although I guess if you're going to buy it from Best Buy, I have an affiliate link for them. Go ahead and use that. Yeah, Prime isn't changing the experience, so I won't feel bad about having a C, a Terra, a Mad VR, and an NZ900. Yeah, the 900 definitely give the Barco Christie's a run for their money. Yeah, it's like levels, right? And to get to that next level is both a monumental shift of dollars and installation complexity and all that other kind of stuff. So I think in this iteration of the Techthusiasm home theater, the 900 is the end game. Andy's saying Strato V will be my entry in the Kaleidescape. Welcome to the platform. Excited to see how it works. Place the order today. Not with me. Come on, man. But cool. Glad you're coming in. I think it's going to be great. So this was what gets me excited because, again, not as just a biased dealer or whatever, but I've long contended that I want to see um, I just want to see the platform thrive. The bigger the user base, the more they're selling, the more money they're making, the more stuff they can do. They can hire engineers. If they got to spend money to get those movie licenses and fill up the store, right? It benefits everybody. I think new people coming into the platform benefits everybody. It benefits those people because, hey, they're part of the club now. And it benefits all of us that have been part of the ecosystem for a long time, because it's going to open up opportunity for growth and expansion and all that kind of stuff. And I think that this is going to be a big opportunity for them to do that. So yeah, master lesson. Strato V will sell out. I believe that so many people. Yeah, maybe many able to hit into that price segment. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be curious to see. Very curious to see if it goes on some level of back order. They can't make them and ship them fast enough. Good problem to have, ultimately. Um, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, K got in the price point for the enthusiast. Yep, I agree 100%. It's in the ballpark of a lot more people now. And I mean, we're still in an environment where even the ripping setup, a very high end ripping setup, right? An Arvolution, well, not the Zapedi anymore, but like what was it, the Arvolution? Do they have like a Pro? I can't find it. It's makeup. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, the player one store. What is the most expensive Arvolution? Because these used to be like $2,000. Arvolution Player One 8K Authentic Cinema Signature Edition. 1,500 euro. Is there a way to, what's the conversion on that? That's about 1-to-1 anyway. 1,500 bucks. So, you do this, you buy their NAS, that's 2,500. The players, 1,500. There's your 4K. You didn't even put drives in it. You didn't even put all of the time and effort required, to possibly. Well, I guess maybe a little less time and effort if you go the Arvolution route, because it'll rip the stuff for you. But you buy yourself a big old Synology NAS, you load it with drives, you can still get one of these players. You're knocking on the door of the same or similar price points. I think like there were some new Zedus and stuff announced as well. I don't know what they're. I don't pay a ton of attention to that stuff as much nowadays. I mean, I think it's all good stuff. It's good stuff to have on the market, but just personally, it's not something that I pay too much attention to. But at this price point anyway, I guess the takeaway, the point is they're knocking on they're competing. This stuff is becoming, Kaleidescape is becoming competitive with some of this, and there'll still be naysayers that'll be like, oh, I did my DIY setup for 50 bucks or whatever, but question on Myas and X. Does the Strato V have the option to put out LLDV for projectors that don't support DV? So we talked about this a little bit. I don't know all the details on the DV. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to collect all that information and spin out a very kind of specific video to share those concepts and share those details. Don, yeah, new 8K Zedu is like 1,200 bucks. So there you go, 1,200 for that. What's an 8-bay Synology cost, or even a 12-bay DSX 1823? 1,500 bucks. 1,500 plus 200, plus you put the drives in it, plus you spend the time. Call us, man. Get a V. Just get a V. Save your time. I don't have the time to support a ripping entertainment system setup anymore if I wanted, even if I wanted to. All right, we are at the half hour, and I need to wind down. I can't get right off of those things and go to bed. I'll like lay there awake thinking about all kinds of stuff for a while, and I got to hit that tonal in the AM. So I'm actually at the end of my program, my first program. I've been sweating so much. I come off a workout on that thing, like functional training. I can take my shirt and just like wring it out. It's awesome. So hopefully you're going to see a very toned and jacked YouTuber here coming up in a couple of months. All right, I appreciate everybody coming out. That was definitely a long one. Always a big group of folks here hanging out with comments, some real interesting comments and some commenters early on there. But I think we broke this thing down pretty good. Of course, I have to finish by saying, if you want one of these, you want a V, you want some other Kaleidescape stuff, I can help you out. I know a bunch of friends around the hobby that can help you out. So even if it's not me, go with one of them. Good times. And we'll have more to say definitely about it. Eager to get my hands on it. I'm going to hopefully have all the content. We'll check out this brand new UI. We'll get all the answers about like the Dolby Vision specific types of questions in that, and ride the wave. So pre-order now. You can get in the list, and get it in your hands as soon as we're able to. So thanks everybody for coming out. Appreciate it. Have a great night. I'll be back with some more content, and have a good one. Thanks.